Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Karen Tucker, and I'm the CEO of the Churchill Club. Happy to welcome you, our members and guests. And I certainly want to also thank Fenwick for their generosity in opening their doors to us this morning. I'd also like to welcome our speakers. We have with us Sachin Agarwal, CEO of Posterous, Rob Haitani, Chief Product Officer at Vitamin D, David Helgason, CEO of Unity Technologies, Sidney Minassian, the CEO of Liaise, and Amita, CEO of Objective Marketer. And finally, of course, we have Guy Kawasaki, co-founder of Alltop. Thank you for joining us this morning. Quickly, a few Churchill Club announcements. Coming up next week on Tuesday evening, 11:10, a truly wonderful evening event that I hope you will not miss. The widely respected Jim Goodnight, the chairman, CEO, and co-founder of SAS, which is the largest privately held software company in the world. He is a personal hero to many people. He is coming to address our audience from North Carolina, and it's a rare chance to hear a true icon in the industry speak, so I hope you can come. Next, it's the Laws of Disruption at the accident-prone intersection of innovation and law, talking about the tension between innovation and law. A provocative and informative breakfast panel that will take place here at Fenwick on November 19. And then finally, it's our very popular 7th annual Gadgets program on December 3rd with Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal and All Things D Conference and his executive co-producer, Kara Swisher, together with gadget guru Greg Harper and their celebrity geek guest, Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook. They'll be bringing their favorite gadgets to share with everybody. If you are not a member, we do encourage you to consider joining us. We are a member-supported nonprofit organization, and we'd be pleased to have you. You can always find the latest on programs and membership on our website at churchillclub.org, or you can talk to any of our staff members here this morning. Our moderator, Guy Kawasaki, has somewhat of a storied past here in Silicon Valley. He was famously an Apple Fellow and helped launch the Macintosh. He has written 8 or more books, including The Macintosh Way and The Art of the Start. He co-founded and is a managing director of Garage Technology Ventures. He writes a blog called How to Change the World, a practical blog for impractical people. And over a year ago, he launched Alltop, which is an innovative and valuable resource for quickly accessing the best material available on certain subjects of interest to you on the internet. Guy, welcome back.
Good morning. Good morning. The nature of this morning's panel is to offer you some insights into what's going on in high-tech entrepreneurship these days. And I like to let the panelists introduce themselves. I'll start at the far with Rob. And if you just give us a 30-second introduction of yourself, and what your company does.
Hi, my name is Rob Haitani. I'm the Chief Product Officer and co-founder of Vitamin D, which is a spin-off of Palm. And we developed an application that recognizes objects and videos for security monitoring that's based on a new form of intelligent computing. And that's what we do.
Okay. Anita?
Good morning. My name is Amita Paul. I'm founder, CEO of Objective Marketer. My company is one of the first comprehensive platform that offers centralized campaign management for social media marketing. The goal is that businesses find their customers and retain their customers, and in return make direct revenue out of the social media channels.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sidney Minassian, co-founder and CEO of Liaise. Usually I'd say our mission is something, but guys, yes, I'm going to say our mantra is to turn words into action. So effectively what we do is anytime in your communication stream where an action is discussed, work is assigned or accepted, our technology recognizes it, captures it, and helps you track and manage that all the way to the end. So for example, in the email, people saying get me the sales plan in by next Wednesday, it picks up an action, helps you track that all the way without you having to manage other systems. I relocated to the Valley about 18 months ago with my wife and kids from Australia, if you're wondering where that accent's from, and having a great time here. Thank you.
Sachin?
Hi, I'm Sachin Agarwal. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Posterous.com. Posterous is the easiest way to publish anything online. So you just simply compose an email message, and you can attach any rich media, photos, video, anything at all, and we will convert it to the most web-friendly format and publish it. And then at the same time, we'll update your Twitter, your Facebook, your Flickr, and all the other communities that you have around the web. And so it's a really easy way to do group blogging, family blogging, and basically scales up to small businesses and anything you want to publish online.
Dave?
David Helgason, founder and CEO of Unity Technologies. We built a platform for developing 3D content across all kinds of devices, from web to mobile to console games. And basically, organically grew the company until a month ago when we closed a round with Sequoia. Moved here. I've been in Valley for a month now. So
From where?
in Denmark.
From Denmark. So Sequoia made an investment in a Danish company?
Yep.
Really? Through Silicon Valley?
It's a Delaware, of course.
Well.
But it's the Silicon Valley.
So your investor, your Sequoia partner is here?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Rob, we'll start with you, and I'd like all the panelists to answer a very general question about what is the current state, from your perspective, of tech entrepreneurship in the middle of this recession?
Okay, start with a softball question, an easy question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from a financing perspective, the economic situation obviously very challenging. I think finding risk profile that people are willing to invest in, the bar is a lot higher or lower, however you want to look at it. So it's a challenge, and we are particularly challenged, and we're developing what we consider a disruptive technology, and by definition, you're going to have challenges with market, establishment of a market, and the definition of your channels. We've been focused on trying to develop a product, and we're going to public beta very soon. So our focus has been on, well, prove yourself as a product and focus on that.
Okay, Amita?
I have been so busy lately building the product and meeting with prospects and customers that I've really not realized how the economic scene is outside. and I mean, on the serious side, the space that I am in, social media, the good thing about it is that there's a lot of activity going on in this space, and there's a lot of visibility in what you are doing. This is my first venture with not really a lot of credible, background that I have in starting a new company. I am already getting a lot of calls from Fortune 500 companies. So it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing to be in this space because every other day you'll hear a new product coming in social media space. So to differentiate and to be ahead in this game is a little bit of a challenge. But my focus at this point in time is building the product, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, Sidney?
So I think all good sort of businesses or inventions happen because someone redefined the problem somewhere, looked at the problem in a different way. And I think what the economy's done for us is actually redefine the rules or the boundaries of what, the operating rules. And so just looking at sort of colleagues and other people out there doing things or trying things, they're doing it on less money, they're doing it much quicker, there's a lot more focus on trying to get real customers quicker, or revenue quicker, God forbid revenue. So that's what sort of I've been seeing more of at a personal sort of at a networking level of what's going on. For us, we've also been very focused. We were in stealth mode, and we just launched last month at demo. So we sort of had a singular focus to get the product out, make a big splash at demo, and sort of move on from there.
Okay, Sachin?
So Posterous started last year in Y Combinator in the summer, and so it was interesting to see the batch of companies started at the same time, so about 22 companies, and the different experiences that they had. What we sort of saw was that it's definitely a tougher economic situation now to raise money. So what stood out was, as Rob said, was to demonstrate the product and actually build it out and show value, and to solve a problem. And the companies that seemed to execute on that very well were able to raise money and despite the economic times. But the companies that were trying to do something that was a little bit more out of reach struggle a bit more.
Okay, David?
So we're slightly different in that we actually just built the company for 7 years and profitably and organically. So I mean, we had this kind of 200% growth for 3 years, kept being profitable always. So it was kind of easy when we finally met the VCs. I mean, we're in Denmark, right? There's absolutely no capital there. or the little capital there is incredibly dumb. Yeah.
Unless you're doing a beer startup or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe in biotech they will sort of get
Yeah.
a little bit, but no. So for us, when we finally met the VCs, it was kind of easy. I'm also co-founder of another company that just got some angel funding, so maybe not representative in other problems.
So what did you do for 7 years that you were able to bootstrap?
Just lots of pasta. And, well, we got the product out early, that is 4.5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And nobody was really stupid enough to buy it back then, because it's a very complicated product. It's, it's the developers use it, so you put a lot of trust in this product. But a few people that were stupid enough, we managed to supported them and just sort of talked to them until they told their friends. Pretty old-fashioned, actually.
Were you going through resellers or direct, or how did you do it?
Direct to our website.
Okay.
We still do.
Okay.
Now we have 30,000 customers from kind of EA to 12-year-old boys.
And what do you, why take venture capital at this point?
Part of it was just getting into the family, entering the valley and saying, like, now we're big boys as well.
And you think that's worth it?
Yeah.
It's because you're from Denmark. You don't understand how meaningless that is. But okay. All right.
$2 million can also be useful for.
Yeah, buy better chairs. Amita, I'll start this one with you. What do you think is the greatest challenge you face right now as a company?
Well, it's a challenge when you're bootstrapping to get good people, good developers, and good team in that sense. But when you're bootstrapping and when you have less money, you become very creative also. So you look at avenues and you look at opportunities where you can, get some mutual things done. So like my engineering is being developed by a woman, team is being managed by a woman entrepreneur in India. And so this has been a challenge, when you're bootstrapping to get good resources. But then, it's not one of the biggest challenges. You have creative ways to find that out.
Okay. Sidney, your biggest challenge?
I think focus is always a big challenge because there's always so many opportunities that are presented in front of you as an entrepreneur.
You're telling me that's your biggest challenge? How to focus? You're full of shit. Give me a break. What's your biggest challenge? What keeps you up and awake at night?
Focus on where to spend your time, where to spend your resources, so that that sort of kicks you up because you've got many things you can like for example our market, many people that we could go after. But we're looking for obviously best distribution, lowest hanging fruit, blah blah blah, and that I think is a challenge. And of course, you do worry about staying ahead of the curve, right? In terms of we've come up with something that's innovative. We've got more ideas in the pipe, and we know that people are going to be copying on their catch up too.
Okay. Sachin, what's your biggest challenge?
I think our biggest challenge is distribution. So we've built out this product and we've launched it, and now it's a matter of trying to educate people on who we are and what we're building and why they should use us over the many other competitors that we have out there in the space. And we know that we have the best product. We know that it far exceeds capabilities of anything else out there. But we still have to teach people who we are and convince them one person at a time. And so this is through customer support, or this is through marketing or PR, and that's really been a challenge to figure out. Again, it's like where do we allocate our resources? And any time I spend doing PR marketing or trying to get a biz dev deal, I'm not able to develop and improve on the product. And so it's struggling with that balance.
Do you have any tips on what's particularly effective in increasing distribution and awareness for a product like this?
Yeah, so one good and one bad. So a good thing is Twitter. And Twitter, I think is great, not necessarily in that I don't believe in companies that depend on Twitter, but I think Twitter is a great thing to use that resource as a way to get distribution, as a way of educating, as a way of becoming viral. So use them, but don't rely on them. A bad thing so far has been meetings. Anytime somebody emails you and says, I would love to use your product, let's meet, let's have coffee. No, it'd be a complete waste of time. Go back and code some more. And you're gonna get all more value out of that.
How about panels?
I'm usually sleeping right now, so this is probably good use of my time.
Okay. David?
So I guess it's Adobe, Microsoft, and Google. I mean, they all have competing products.
Yeah.
I mean, we're way better. So it's actually convincing people that they should use our particular platform because there are implications about the future and people need us to stick around for a while. So we have to kind of convince them of that.
I can guess how you sell against Microsoft. Tell me how you sell against Adobe and Google.
So it's different. Like, I mean, Adobe has Flash,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, we do 3D. They do 2 and sort of a little bit of 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So there, I mean, they have 97% plugin penetration of the browser. They don't have icon support. We have both, and we have like 2% plugin penetration, which I actually think is pretty good. But convincing people that they should take that little pain and lose some customers on it if they can give them a better experience.
Okay.
We wanted to do more to do.
Okay. We'll circle back to you, Rob. Your greatest challenge?
Our biggest challenge right now is convincing potential funders, investors of market validation. As I mentioned, we're in a disruptive technology, so almost by definition, we believe we've made a breakthrough in an area where people spent millions of dollars and haven't succeeded. So you go to a meeting and they say, well, that market is not successful, no one succeeded there, there are no customers. Kind of reminds me a little bit of back in the Palm days. We were trying to, when I used to work in Palm, and we were trying to get funding for the Palm pilot, and people said, well, this is a failed market, and people spend millions of dollars, and there's no market there. So that's definitely a challenge.
Okay. Sidney, I'll start with you now. I have a theory that right now, if you look at what an entrepreneur needs, almost everything is free. So with open source, the tools are free. With the recession and layoffs, people are free. With Facebook and MySpace.
You think people are free?
Yeah.
You're full, no.
Or cheap. Cheaper. So we got cheap people, we have free tools, marketing between Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter, perhaps an over-reliance, is free. Office space is cheaper. I mean, basically everything is much cheaper or free. Do you think that's all true? I mean, is it now possible to start a startup for less money and need venture capital less than ever?
So that's sort of in line with what I was saying at the beginning, where I think the rules have been redefined.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's redefined the rules, and a lot of people are doing things a lot more cheaply. So I agree with that overall statement. I think good people are still not free. Like, I think if you want quality team members that are here, that will, so not outsourcing or offshoring, but they're here, they're part of the team, or building up your management story. And it also depends on what stage of your business you're at, right? So for us, like going from Series A now to Series B, people aren't free, people aren't cheap, lawyers aren't cheap. I think that. So I think there's some things that can be done there. So yeah, I agree that there's a lot of things that are free and you can do it on a loan. And people were saying the other day the 2 mil is the new 10, or 2 is the new 10 type thing. You can get a lot more done. But people, I think, is you got to pay for quality people, because in this market especially, they got to eat.
Okay, Sachin?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Everything is extremely cheap except for people. And so if you're 2 guys in a garage starting a software company, especially, it costs nothing now. Our server costs, our bill from Rackspace is pennies compared to probably what it was a few years ago. Posterous can only exist today, or it was the right place for us to be because of how cheap hosting is and how great the cloud is. But good people are not a penny less than they used to be. We've grown somewhat slowly because we've only wanted to get the perfect people on board, and we don't think that they're any cheaper than they used to be. I don't foresee that as ever being true.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, people are expensive.
Yeah?
Well, not the first 3 guys, right? They grew up for nothing for years.
Yeah.
But everyone else is pretty expensive. But yeah, I don't know. I would we raised money really late, but that just forced us to do things extremely cheaply. yeah, you can definitely do that.
Okay, Rob.
Yeah, I think developing the products, I think, apart from the engineers, is very inexpensive. I would say acquiring customers is not cheap. At least we haven't been able to convince people in funding pitches that it's cheap. So that's always the challenge. If people have told us, hey, you got a great product, but how are you going to, you need to invest millions of dollars in order to build a customer base if you're a startup. Is what we hear very frequently.
And what do you say back?
We say, well, we tell them that it starts with a product. We have a great product. We've always had, we tell them about how our strategies of getting in channels and that, that if you build a product that is successful, it's not that if you build it, they will come. If you build it and delight them, they will come back, is the mantra that we use.
Okay, Amita?
Actually, we have done things in iterations, a lot of things in iterations, and like you said, there are several tools and several open source elements that you can bring into your organization. So for example, our first set of website elements was done by a company in Vietnam through a big website called Liaise. So we got our designers, and they're pretty good actually. At a very, very nominal cost, we got our first set of websites done. So we started building our things in iterations, get feedback from customers, prospects, and then knowing where to put money, we put money there. Some of the things that we did for marketing was we hired interns from Stanford and Wharton, and you'll be surprised that even now, we get a lot of calls from interns from some of these most reputed institutes, and they want to work for us.
For free?
For free, just because they believe or they think that what we are doing is good and game changing or whatever. So if they believe in it, they'll work for you for free. So it's a matter of how you can convince them and how you can project what you're doing is good.
I'll start with you for this question. You alliterated to or referred to Twitter, but not an over-reliance on Twitter. So can you explain, assuming you had a zero marketing budget, which is kind of true for all of you, right, in a sense, how would you take a product to market? How would you introduce it, knowing all that you know now?
I think using Twitter and Facebook and those different channels are great distribution tools. And no matter what product I come out with in the future, I'm always going to think about those social networks as a way of spreading the word and becoming viral. And I think that is pretty applicable to no matter what your product is. It's sort of common when you share this, widgets, and things like that. But I think that even tighter integration with those social networks will really help a product blossom and grow faster. But I do believe that that's what they should be used for. And so for Posterous, we always believe that our website is its own entity. It's your home on the web. It's your blog, and you just use those as ways to launch products and to get distribution.
Okay, David? Zero marketing budget, what do you do?
Probably the same as we did. We built a really nice product and put it out there and had people talking about it and sort of engaged with them, but didn't really, we didn't have a big voice ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're a developer product, so we're speaking to developers, and developers, are very excited about their tools, and if they find something, they'll talk about it and talk about it and talk about it.
But specifically, how do you reach developers?
From one website.
Which website?
Our website.
Oh, but but how did they arrive there?
From each other. Yeah, it's hard to explain. It's not really through sort of clear social networks. Facebook was sort of there, but we never used it, not even now.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of sort of twittering going on, but we don't Twitter much ourselves.
Well, somehow they had to find out.
It's true. It's very different from consumer in the sense that there are much smaller networks. They talk to each other. So a lot of it actually you won't find on the web. It's actually like personal communications.
So you will take a meeting unlike Sachin?
We actually took all the meetings. and they weren't wasted time because we met the people, we looked them in the eye, and they had to believe that we actually meant this. Because it's not a software as a service little thing you buy from month to month. It's something you back your project or your company on.
Okay. Rob? Zero marketing budget.
Marketing, two things. One is PR is very big. Getting the influence to get a great review from Walt, that's gold. The other thing,
Walt as in Mossberg?
Yeah, Walt Mossberg, yeah. Or David Pope. It starts, again, you have to have a great product to pull that off, right? So great review from an influential person in the analyst or person in the press.
Did you get such a thing from Walt or David?
I'm speaking more of, I guess, past experience. So we're
Okay.
just getting our product out right now, so hoping that we will soon. And the second being other people's money. And part of what we want to do is our product is a software security application. So we're trying to we're talking to camera vendors and try to work leverage them, work through their channels and help our product recommend their product.
Okay. Now, when you say PR, are you talking $15,000 or $20,000 a month PR agency or PR you do yourself? What kind of PR?
PR, you get your old buddy from Palm to help you cheat. PR. And it can be extremely leveraged, yeah.
And do you think you can get to Walt Mossberg this way and David Pope this way today?
That, I guess it's yes, I think, because people, just because we've had contact before, we actually, when we were a demo, Walt had agreed to meet with us, but unfortunately he had a personal, he wasn't able to attend the conference, basically.
Yeah, got a heart attack.
I don't know what happened with Walt.
Yeah. So you mentioned demo. And several of you have been demo, right? You're like demo god, right? Did you win demo?
People choice award.
Yeah. So, so several of you have mentioned demo. I'll come back to you, Amita, but I'd like to hear about, the impact of demo for you, or in your history, or is demo more or less important than TechCrunch 50? Well, where do you? If you had a choice between being on TechCrunch 50 or demo, what'd you pick today? Yeah.
Well, we were at demo actually, and it was less of a choice. It's another example of using other people's money. We developed on a platform by a company called Amita. They were given a panel, and we were able to bootstrap off of that. So that was a huge opportunity for us. Cost us a and a night in a hotel.
Okay. Any other thoughts on demo TechCrunch while we're at it?
Well, I guess I'm voted at my feet. So I attended TechCrunch last year and also looked at sort of demo and the companies that come out of demo. And it comes back to the focus and picking what you're doing. For us, we were after the business consumer market, and so demo seemed like a better place to launch. Hopefully, never will become a story like a Palm or a Salesforce.com type, business sort of user. So that worked for us. Also, I think doing nothing works in isolation. For us, demo was only one part of our launch arsenal. But doing investor and we had a retained PR firm, so this is not my answer about doing it on zero budget.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
It was of course, but we reached out to analysts and bloggers while we were in stealth mode beforehand. We built up our LinkedIn community, our Facebook community, and then we launched with Twitter, and so I think it all sort of helped to combine to build a sort of an awareness.
So at the end, just push comes to shove, probably all in, it cost you $25,000-$30,000 to go to demo, right?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We walked over
Even if you hadn't won the award?
Advertising contract, so great ROI.
Well, let's suppose you did not win the award, because the odds are 1 out of 100 you're going to win the award, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we for us it was really worth it. We got, and I would do it again, even if we didn't do it. Again, given where we're at, the fact that we're funded, the fact that we had allocated to do this in the right way, I think if I was at a different stage, bootstrapping or whatever, I'd use blogs, I'd use Sachin service, I'd use Twitter, I could continue with the LinkedIn and Facebook communities, because you target where people already talk, and I think and then give them content so that they can retweet.
Okay.
With your wording.
Okay. Amita, you with a zero marketing budget.
Well, I'll get Guy Kawasaki on my board of advisors.
That's it? That's your answer?
Absolutely.
Not a bad answer, I guess. Okay.
Is he one of the free people you're talking about?
You have to work really hard.
I am free.
You have to work really hard to get, Guy Kawasaki. Kawasaki, but I mean it because it's very important. I mean, Guy Kawasaki is an iconic figure for the space that I am in, but whichever space that you are in, having somebody who has expertise and name as, somebody like Guy, really helps, really helps. And if that person believes in your product, then you've made it.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely very important.
Okay. Sidney, your zero marketing budget plan or advice?
Me?
Yeah.
So it was back to blogs that's free. Give people content they can retweet. Target communities that already exist. So again, like what we did was I got myself and whoever was on my LinkedIn network we created a Liaise, supporters group, and people connected, and of course people saw others connecting, so they connected, and soon enough you've got a few hundred people on there. And then of course anytime you post something, and everything's connected these days, so Twitter to Facebook to LinkedIn, it's all happening, right? To our website. So that just creates an awareness, and I think that starts the viral people.
Okay.
People like to pass things on.
Specifically bloggers, how did you get to bloggers?
How did we get to
Yeah.
bloggers? We did it as part of our PR outreach. So we, had people who could get in touch with people. So the Read Write Web guys, for example, did a great story on us, and so it was through our PR person that we were able to reach them.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that wouldn't fall on necessarily the free category, but it will next time because I've got a relationship with.
Okay. David, we'll start with you for this question, and then I'll take questions from the audience, okay, because we have about, 25 minutes? We end at 9, is that the plan? Yeah? Okay. Tell us the most surprising, unexpected lesson that you've learned in all of this process of starting a tech startup. Something that just hit you from left field, and I don't know if that's a good analogy for someone from Denmark. Hit you from...
It's a good question, actually.
We got time. It's 25 minutes.
Maybe the fact that actually you could do something on a zero budget. I mean, we had zero budget, so we had to do it, but maybe we didn't really expect that we could get this far and get this acceleration curve. And to be honest, I mean, the first many years, we always thought that we have to raise some capital, because if we don't have money, we won't be able to get this. We kept not getting capital, so we just kept sort of going at it. And I think, we were surprised when we looked back and, okay, well, we're sort of extremely well known in the game space. We've got 20 million plugins installed in people's computers. 5% of the apps, the games in the App Store, the top 100 are made with our stuff.
With hindsight, let's say you did raise, I don't know, $5 million or kroners or whatever, early on. Do you think, with hindsight, it would have been better or worse?
Much worse.
Worse.
I mean,
Why so?
maybe for more experienced people, they could have pulled it off. We didn't know how to. I mean, we would have spent it so badly. We were very close. I mean, we were close to raising a substantial Danish round of like $300,000 or something.
That's substantial.
Oh, it is small in Denmark, but
Yeah.
still, it seemed like a lot of money. And we would have burned it extremely quickly. We would have lost our focus. We would have done all kinds of stupid stuff, and we would have probably fizzled out in late 2005.
Yeah, you'd be working for free for somebody today. You'd be an intern.
I still have.
Rob, your greatest surprise or?
Surprise. I guess I would say something similar about how things are so cheap to put up a website, and just from old school, just from the last start of it, Handspring, putting our website almost sunk the company, literally. It just cost us so much money and such a disaster. And now you just go to Yahoo and all the resources that are out there, and everything from the icons, you can get iStock photo things cheap. It's just very impressive how much you can make your company look very big with very little resources.
Tell us about the Handspring website. So what happened there? I mean, what? Just there's a lesson there someplace, right?
Martini. Yeah. The Handspring website was we were going to launch our PDAs online. We sell online, so it's a commerce website, which back in those days was a big deal. We hired a company and we spent a lot of money, and the site just did not work. It was a disaster. It was badly coded. People were billed 6 times over. They weren't selling, they were sent the wrong products. It was, months late getting.
Was this company that you hired to do the Handspring website, was it a large web development company, or is it 2 guys in a garage, 2 gals in a garage? What did you pay?
I actually don't know the details, but it was from my recollection, it was a fairly well-established company. And at some point, it was the problem of, they know what they're doing. They're a well-established company.
Exactly.
References, what could possibly go wrong? And then, next thing you know, employees are putting FedEx labels on return packages. But that's you guys don't have to worry about that today. It's much easier today.
Well, you can still do a crappy job, but at least it'll be cheaper.
Think do it twice.
Amita, your biggest surprise?
Well, Guy, for the last 5 months or 6 months, every morning I wake up with a new pleasant surprise. So going your way, I'll talk about probably top 3 of them. So one of, in 6 months, we were with private beta for the last 5 months. We have been approached by 3 VC firms, and we had 2 acquisition offers already. That's kind of pleasant surprise because we started off very modestly. Second is, while still in private beta, we had customers like Intel using the product. And third, biggest surprise, which really is close to my heart, is getting my company name mentioned back in India, and my friends and family calling me and telling me about it. It still gives me goosebumps. So that's really very pleasant.
Okay. Sidney?
So I guess from a journey perspective, the biggest surprise that I look back and sort of go, our lessons learned must be the false positives you get when you start something, a business. So the very first product that we put out a long time ago, the way sort of we did it, cheap, free, bootstrap. One of my previous customers was speaking at a large project management conference, and I got in because of him that we got a free booth outside the conference hall. There was no other vendors, we were the only people with our machine, and we basically got a government order that day, and effectively the product wasn't still ready. It was just like, we were just putting this, and we're like, damn, we're going to be millionaires by next week. We were so happy. And so I think it's good to looking back, it's important to recognize what are the false positives in the business, like, why those people bought now is a whole new revelation. You learn about they had some budget running out at the end of the quarter. You learn that there was a competing general manager who was pushing another product. She didn't like him. You learn all these things about, and so when you're first entering the market and you don't know these things, and you think, oh, they love the product. So and so government has bought my product, and so I think looking out for the false positives is an important aspect that could drive.
How long have you lived in Silicon Valley now?
About 18 months. 18
months. So, is it really different here? I mean, we like to think it's different and it's magical. Is that all bullshit, or or both of you could answer that question, David? I'd like to really hear from the outside looking in. Now that you're here, is it really different? Is it really magical?
It's beautiful. No, it is different. It's different because it's just an ecosystem that you can't replicate. So for us, we did backflips to be able to raise angel money in Australia. It's just literally unheard of. People there just, especially in this kind of game where they know Australia is a small market, and you go there and you say, look, I've got this world-changing idea, and they're like, just give me something less risky. Whereas here, they want to hear about world-changing ideas, and they encourage that, and they go, you know what, if you fail, it doesn't matter, come back, because you've probably made 20 lessons learned, and you're going to do something with it next time. Also, I think the whole ecosystem, like over there, you say to a lawyer or an accountant, hey, I've got a startup, can you help me out? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I hope you get a real job, one day. Whereas here they say, they come to you and they say, here's my business card, I specialize in startup, accounting or startup HR or financial control or whatever, or legal, this is what we do. So over there you can get a lawyer to help you with a $500 million management buyout of a company. You can't get them to help you with a $5 million term sheet for Series A. So it's those kinds of things that make this place what it is.
Okay.
So I think you can't. I think it's great from that.
David, what are your experiences vis-a-vis?
So I've only been here for a month and a half, although I've spent a lot of time here in the last 2 years. I didn't go to business school, so trying to run a company, I was just always kind of trying to spend time with smart people, just kind of to let them teach me business. And the quality of the people here is just incredible, and people are willing to spend time with you. So I've done that in the last 2 years. Whenever I came here, and I would sort of have a few meetings and all that, and then around the meetings, I would just slot as many people as I could. And people that I didn't know, people who didn't really know what I was doing, and they would spend time with me and just teach me stuff. So that's very different from back home.
Just to add, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just to add to Sidney, in India you wouldn't get married if you said you have a startup.
There's 900 million men, surely, I mean.
I believe things are changing, in recent past, but yes, that was the case.
I've got a trick to that. So I used to work for KPMG. So I got married once to KPMG. 5 seconds later.
You didn't have a vesting period in your relationship? Sachin, you're the last person to answer that question. So it's the biggest surprise, the biggest lesson.
Sure. Oh, actually, first of all, I'll talk about is Silicon Valley magical? And
Okay.
Maybe this is a little bit of a surprise. I've mostly been to Silicon Valley, but the 3 years prior to starting the company, I was in New York City. And
Different country.
very different atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's so finance-based over here and so tech-based over here. And coming back, obviously the resources are all here. The VCs are all here. So all of our angels, people who we want to hire. It brought us back to Silicon Valley. It's the right place to be, but it is a bubble, and I think people don't look outside that bubble enough. And I think that for a consumer company, and Posterous is so consumer-based, that we want to hit, the 2 billion email users out there and get them blogging. You can't. I think if you're too Silicon Valley centric, you don't know how to look outside of this and reach that audience. And I think being in New York and being around people who I felt were a little more normal, in a sense like not being as tech savvy, not knowing what technologies are out there, what are my options, how do I do this or that. Here, everybody knows everything about technology, or a lot more people do. And it's harder to then build a product that stands apart or that looks at a problem in a different way, because everyone's mind is on in one.
Okay.
So that's the answer to that. So our biggest surprise is that we do believe that this is where all the resources are. It's the right place to be to start a company, ultimately, but our hardest problem has been finding good people to hire. And we've actually had, we were slow to hire, we did a bunch of contractors, but we had some really crazy experiences with them. I mean, we would get people on board, they would interview well, seem like the smartest people in the world, they'd all these open source projects for this and that, and you're like, this guy's gonna be awesome. He's gonna start cranking code and just do all this great work for us. Nothing. The guy goes silent. He disappears. One guy stopped accepting emails, and his email would auto-respond, "You can catch me on IRC anytime you want here." And it's like, IRC, I need to call you, or I need to email you. So we've had a hard time just, finding really good people, and people who are good engineers, but at the same time are well-rounded, to be good designers, and know how to build a product, in addition to just writing really good code. And so it's been a real
So with all this frustration of finding people, have you found any good sources? Craigslist a source? I mean, what would your advice be today?
So far for us, it's just been sort of personal recommendations. It's been people that we've found through friends or people who have just done a little bit of work for us, and then they've demonstrated they're amazing people that we work well with. And it's just so important to, especially when you're as small as we are, that every single person is so critical to your culture and your output that you really need to know who you're getting and who you're bringing on board, fully before you commit to them.
Okay. We have 15 minutes. Do you have any questions in the audience?
I was very interested about the comments on using Twitter for outbound marketing, and could whoever spoke about that elaborate more about how you go about finding people that are interested in hearing your 140-character tweets, and what exactly you're saying to them, and why is this so important?
I can start. Well, so it's not necessarily us tweeting to get people to know about us, because if we tweet, nobody's listening on the other end. So it's about integrating Twitter into our product so that when our users are using it, they tweet and they want their content to go viral. They want, so they're educating their viewers, their readers about us, and that's helped us a lot. We also monitor Twitter constantly for feedback. We read every single tweet that has the word Posterous in it, and we respond to every question, we answer every concern, we fix every problem that we see. And that's great, because then that person's going to tweet again and say, Posterous is great, they fixed my issue, they did this, or whatever. And Twitter's also been great for the reviews that we get. So if we get a review on TechCrunch, we've built relationships with all these guys. They write a review, it goes out on Twitter, it spreads from there. And so it's more of an idea of just embracing Twitter's community to educate people about who you are.
Can I take on that? So Twitter can be an excellent outbound marketing platform if you can identify your influencers and amplifiers from that channel, because it has a great potential for viral effects. So if there are a few hubs and there are a few people out there on Twitter, if they can catch on your message, and if it spreads from one person to the other, and it expands by the number of followers they have, the impact could be really, really very huge. So it's essentially optimizing with the message that you send out, the time when you send out the message. It's pretty much like a television channel where there are a few news messages coming up every now and then, and what is that best time? What is that prime time when most of your audience, when most of the people you want to reach out to are present there? So kind of constantly monitoring how a trend of how your messages are being received by the audience on Twitter. So several things come into play. When you send out a message, who is receiving it? What are the number of followers that person has? What's the interest of that person to receive and spread that message out? Because if when TechCrunch writes something, everybody reads TechCrunch on their website also, but it's kind of a popularity contest to RT that message, retweet that message. So essentially, having a good content and identifying people who would, if they retweet, if they spread out your message, the exposure that it gives you, it could be very, very good for your.
I could give you a 1-hour answer on this. I will tell you that for my company, Alltop, I don't think Alltop would exist today. Sachin warned against over-reliance on Twitter. I am poster child for that. I'm totally reliant on Twitter for Alltop. And I view Twitter as a marketing platform, not a social network, which pisses some people off because, it would be like in 15 or actually 30 years ago, 40 years ago, if you were to ask some ARPANET scientists, well, what's your intention for the internet? I don't think any of them would say, well, someday people are going to sell shoes on it, and it's going to be this huge thing called Zappos. That would really piss them off, right? It's supposed to save the world and democratize information and all that. Well, Twitter is sort of like the internet 40 years ago, and nobody really knows what's going to happen with Twitter. But some people like me adopt it as a platform. Other people use it as a social network. The two uses are very different. There's no right and wrong. I'm not right or wrong, and they're not right or wrong. It's just different uses. And so my advice to you is, contrary to what most people will tell you, Twitter is about getting as many followers as possible. Because as a marketing platform, you want to have more people listening to you. It's like, why do you advertise on the Super Bowl? Well, duh, because lots of people are watching the Super Bowl, right? As opposed to the Senate hearing on the confirmation of what? The FBI director? So what you want to do is advertise on a platform with lots of followers. So the question becomes, how do you get a lot of followers? And the answer to that question is most people on Twitter, as they first begin, think they're supposed to answer the question, what are you doing? And that is totally the wrong question. You're supposed to answer the question, what's interesting to you? And so I think the key to having good Twitter content is to constantly tweet links that point people to interesting stuff. And you have to decide on how you want to brand yourself on Twitter. So if you are let's say the goal of your, let's say you're Posterous, and you want to help people become better bloggers. So at Posterous, the Twitter account, should be synonymous with good blogging. So the question now becomes, how do you become synonymous with good blogging? So what they have to do is constantly look for good articles about blogging, how to write a good headline, how to write a good blog, how to use CSS, how to do this, how to do that. And so people follow at Posterous in order to become better bloggers. And when you have that kind of links and constant high-value content, you'll get more followers. And when you get more followers and you constantly put out good links, then you are essentially earning the right to promote your product every once in a while. So the model is just like PBS. PBS has to have very good documentaries so that you tolerate the telethons. Right? If they had crap, you wouldn't watch the telethon. If you only had telethons, you wouldn't watch it at all. So you need to earn that right. And I'm completely conflicted here, but I'll tell you that the story of me and Amita is that I was speaking for the MIT group, an MIT group at Stanford. And she came up to me and she said, what we have is a product that can help you manage your tweets. And up to that point, I was usually just using TweetDeck, which is a good client, but it's really not, a marketing platform for Twitter. And so as soon as she said those magic words, about managing it as a platform, that was it. The light went on, we met. And I will tell you that Objective Marketer is the core of my tweeting. It is, to use an analogy, Objective Marketer for me is to Twitter what PageMaker is to desktop publishing. I could not do it without it. And so that's why, this is not an ad for Objective Marketer, but I'll tell you, if you want to do marketing with Twitter, Objective Marketer.
So I put the Guy Kawasaki.
Yes. Yes.
Some very good companies on the panel, tackling really good ideas. I want to ask all of you, and Guy as well, if you, with hindsight right now, look back on your businesses from the beginning, what, if anything, you would have done differently with hindsight?
Okay. Who wants to take the sword first?
Well, I'll go, given the...
No, I was just going to say I would have tried to predict the crater of the economy better, but other than that, that's a meaningful answer, so go ahead.
So I think two things. One is I would have gotten, like I always talk about getting product to market quickly and working with real customers and whatever. So I would have focused in on the real pain points and not the false positives. I think I would have done that quicker. And I think just after you do a few rounds of sort of raising both private money and, I've done one round of, VC money, you sort of learn that actually you probably left some money at the table, or you could have done things a little bit differently. And so I probably would have pushed on a lot more with private money if I had to raise money again. I'd push my business as far as I could more further with private money before entertaining VC money.
Okay.
For me, there hasn't been any shock as yet. So, no false positives in that sense. But what I see with the product that we have is it's slightly ahead of time, and Twitter has a lot of, connotations. Many people see Twitter or Facebook as, in many different ways. So one of the most important things would be to educate, market, and educate people, because it's still meant for power users and still meant for companies that have understood the business aspect of Twitter and having understood Twitter as a mainstream marketing channel. So if I were to spend more time on it, would be more on developing the market and educating, doing some white papers or maybe writing more articles and spending more time on talking with prospects and talking with people about the business aspects of those channels.
I might, yeah. I think I would have spent much less time worrying about sort of doing things like you're supposed to do it. And we always had this mantra that, somebody clever, I don't remember who said that, companies always end up doing what they're good at instead of what they're supposed to be doing. So we had this kind of masochistic urge to do what we're supposed to be doing instead of what we were good at. So we should do marketing. So we figured out, like, okay, how to do marketing, and we had no idea. So finally we just did the product, which was the right thing. But in the meantime, we had worried a lot. We had wasted our efforts, trying to figure this other stuff out. So actually, just ignore the stuff you're not good at, and just do something really, really well, which in our case was the product.
Okay, Sachin?
I don't know. I think would have grown the team out a little bit faster, but other than that, we're really sticking to the product that we had the day that we quit our jobs, and we're really happy with it. We're building what we want, and I think that's been our focus, is solve our problems, and that's what we think that a lot of people do.
Okay. I guess I should answer that question too, huh? Yeah. So, looking back, I should have stayed at Apple. Because I started at Apple in 1983. I had 12,200 shares options. If I had stayed at Apple till today, I would own the San Jose Sharks. I would, I kind of blew it there. I just, the pull of entrepreneurship was just so strong. Then I returned to Apple. Even if I had stayed the second time, I would have owned the San Jose Sharks. Today, I can barely buy a jersey. So yeah, I sometimes have nightmares about that. If I had stayed at Apple, I'd be really, really rich today. I wouldn't be moderating panels on weekdays in the morning. It would be Of course, I'd be an asshole, but that could be that I'm an asshole anyway, so maybe that's not that different, but that's my answer, yeah.
Okay, thanks. My name's John Reno from Redspin. I wanted to ask, or get back to the topic about, should you take investors' money or not? And, we've been bootstrapping it for 4 years now. And so, that's made us really disciplined. But now investors and VCs are reaching out to us, and we're really sort of faced with this dilemma of, do we take the money and dilute ourselves and do speed things up quite a bit and get to a much broader marketplace more quickly? Or do we just keep with our, the discipline that we've had and sort of forego some of the dreams because we just can't fund it that quickly from, our revenues? So I guess I'd like the panel's perspective of, what your experience has been and why, if you did invest, why did you sort of take that leap and what have you gotten out of it?
Okay. Just for clarification, you said dilute yourself, not delude yourselves.
Well, you might get a little both.
Yeah, just for clarification, yeah. So, let's talk about that.
Well, we just had to make that decision, and it was really hard. So for us, the main reason not to take money, in our view, was actually that we could use this stock to get really, really good people. And there's a lot of really good people we could have gotten for those, whatever. But in the end, yeah, we felt we were going on to being a platform, and you had to have this kind of social proof. Plus, the money can actually be applied. But we waited really long.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, it's a matter of whether you want to be the king or whether you want to be rich. So if you want to stay the king, don't take money. But if you want to become rich, maybe take money and get more customers and expand your business. For us, it's too early. We want to build the product. We already have some paying customers, so it's paying my bills so far. But when we do decide to expand and when we have a better valuations, when we can get the money pretty much in good terms, in our favor, we would actually go for that. But so far, for a particular point of time, bootstrapping is better than getting an early easy money. That's what I believe.
Okay. Well, come on,
Well,
Sidney.
there you went. Okay, so I Look, I think there is no right or wrong answer in terms of should you take money, should you not take money. I think every circumstance is different, so there's no don't take money, but warning. I think take money if you need to take money. It just depends what you're looking for, and I sort of referred to this before where I was saying from lessons learned, I'd probably take more angel money and try to push that as far as I could if I was to take money again. Before doing VC money, but that's not to say I wouldn't do VC money. It just means use what you can at different stages because you get different. There's a different dynamic to the business, different expectations. But it really depends what your goals are. If you want to get out there and hire a lot of people and offer them something attractive and break into new markets or have distribution in places. You can do free marketing on Twitter, but not everything's free, right? So you just need the money to propel yourself. So I'd say do it, but be careful. Not all money is good money. It's like a relationship. It's like a marriage. And this is where things are destroyed. Is that take some time to know these people. So it's not just good enough that VCs are approaching you. VCs will approach you all the time. It's a numbers game. They've got the associates calling you because they got to get a portfolio of people that they look at, and they're going to kick out half of them, and then they're going to review half of them, and then whatever, and then select one out of 500. So it's you have to do the same due diligence on them. Who are they? What's their dynamic? How do they work? Why are they interested in you? Is it because they just heard about you, or is it because they care about the space? What kind of value add do they bring? And is it yes, we have networks and relationships. Call one of their portfolio company CEOs. What is their value add? How many referrals have they made? Who have they introduced? What kind of deals have they brought for you? What kind of and it's also a two-way responsibility. I also don't buy it when people go, my VC adds no value to me. I say, well, you don't ask for it. You turn up to a board meeting, they ask you for progress, you ask them for their progress. I've asked for this, where is it, type thing. And so it's a two-way street. So I think it is very much a relationship issue and a business goal issue as opposed to a black or white. Do I take money? Do I not take money?
Okay, so you haven't taken any venture capital yet, so why?
So after we launched, we did an angel round, and we didn't think we needed millions of dollars to continue to build up the product. We wanted to keep it lean and just finish the product to the state where we are now. And now we're sort of at that point where we're trying to figure out what is our next step, and is it to raise a big round. So the way we see it is, it makes sense to raise money as long as you have a really good plan for how that money is going to get used. Don't just automatically be like, oh, okay, I'm at this, I'm a 2-year-old company, I'm going to go do that VC round as everyone's doing, 3-on-9 now or a 5-on whatever. It's like, what do you need to get to where you want to be? And then use that to decide how much money you're going to take and go from there. And I think once you figure that out and you have these goals, then don't worry about the dilution. You shouldn't, at some point I think you stop thinking about your company in terms of the percent of the company that you own, and you start thinking of it as, this is the exit that I think we might have, or this is where I want to be, and now what does that mean to me in dollars, and am I happy, or maybe it's not dollars, maybe it's just where the company is, but am I happy with where I'm going to take the company based on that, and the percentages start to mean less to you.
I would say that, you mentioned dilution as opposed to delusion. Specifically, a dilution should be one of the least factors that you're concerned about, because at the end of the day, 5 years from now, you'll look back and you'll say, I either made more money than I ever thought I would, or I lost everything. It's going to be a 0 or a 1. There's no, if I only had 6.6% of the company, I would be happy, but I had 4.2% because I was diluted. That's not going to be the discussion. You're either really rich or you're gone. It's very simple. And so dilution is not the issue. The issue is the pain in the ass, the board meetings, the idiots who are, look up from their BlackBerries every 15 minutes in a board meeting and spout out, oh yeah, I can hook you up here, and then go back to their BlackBerries. I mean, it's those kinds of issues. It's not dilution per se. That's the downside negative for you. So I know we're 6 minutes over, so you want me to end, huh? Yeah, it's like, yeah. So I hope that you've learned a few things about tech entrepreneurship, the current state of tech entrepreneurship right now. And all of us will be hanging around. Some of us will even give you Twitter lessons, right? And I'd like you to join me. Well, first of all, thank you for attending this session. but also, more importantly, to perhaps the panelists, would you please thank the panelists?
I want to echo that thanks, and thanks. Can you handle it, Guy? And thanks for your appearance this morning. We'd like to present you with a Churchill Club T-shirt. You've earned it. Please wear it in good health. And I want to thank Fenwick again, and all of you for coming. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. I'm very blessed.
Upstairs, yeah.
Wow. What day of the week is it? Maybe.
Yeah, we don't want to like keep
That's the next bullet. Thank you.
I guess my point was not, if you have meetings where like stuff's getting done, but not making sense. Most of the time, it's about like a lot of padding to along the back. You know, it's like what Guy says about, you know, the VCD when they got to the library. Okay, like, you know, if some random sort of, you know, hey, for instance, great coffee, looking at great Posterous, okay, it's not on a side part, but it's still the, let's interview, you want to do there. You know, like, next week is, and we have our following week is San Francisco on Sunday. The date out there, and you know that's like giving us needed. Right now, we're coming through, keep doing there, and you know it's not like I have an extra man to be like, oh yeah, you know I got that interior lying around, you know, take it down, put it on that project, integrate with you. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll get to that point where meetings will become higher value, we will get stuff out of them, and then it'll be more interesting. No, you gotta do the right person. Yeah, you gotta have some people want to take it. Yeah. Yeah. half my day goes to legal, accounting, paperwork, bills, like health insurance. Yeah, the more of that I can get off my plate. Yeah, great. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a big one. Alright, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, you gotta do something stupid for starting. So if you're just out there on the Craigslist or whatever, like you're just thinking about everything else. Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, that's what we definitely been seeing a lot of we need help cultivating and then distributing analysts and all these things. We have an office now.
They have their own network, their own employees, like the small businesses, right? And having them work with us and
Silicon Valley, they don't, people who start companies, they always say bad things about, Google, Microsoft, I want to start a company, I don't want to work for them. I love that. I don't really think it's right there. And you give up a lot of your free time, you give up your salary, you give up benefits.
Right, yes. Right. So, colleagues. Karen, like a minute, we've been trying to pick up
Does he know?
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it.
I heard about us. We've been ready for a long time. What we do is like well, kind of like taking some shower to see like reflecting like finding new stuff based on all that, like provide value to you based on all that. What's the thing? I heard about you guys. We're actually recruiting. Okay. Are you, I guess, what we do is we how's that how we do and how we approach
Thank you for being on the panel. Question for you. On your video, we had a project that Right, I figured while I was listening, and also based on essentially a pattern. So you basically start putting in hierarchies of what you that's the business pattern. Based on theory that all cognitive people based on because we were working on a project in and over the past, say, year, I've come across many companies that are doing a lot of different things with video. Everything from transcribing it, compressing it, right? It's switching to security, right? If you look at the patterns, you also want to get rid of all the blind spots, right? That's not each right? Compressing. Of course, they also get into hardware and how do you manage the life cycle of your video. There's a whole bunch of things happening in video, right? So what you do is just simply looking for visual yeah, well, like Churchill Chronicles, first one. Not person. I'm not marketing. I don't have right. There's a market that's very positive. Sure. CIA. I don't know. I was looking at a couple companies. Yeah, so basically we have a product that not only identifies different but also being able to identify looking at parking lots and what is going on. By the way, their biggest yes, yes. Oh, okay, so you are getting let me exchange some cards here. You're out? No problem. We'll connect online. Well, we make these platforms independent by design, but at the moment we made it work without technical to work without the product, but way we can try to grow well. Other than that, like firewall security. Yeah, you're trying to encourage today what they are, intelligence applications, and then apply that. That's it. That's it. I got to pay my employees and so there are more about this point and maybe it's my rationalization. Adding intelligence. So it's similar type of maybe similar type of ball. We've got a 4-minute meeting on the website. Yeah, so at the moment it's later and the way it's later. The more licenses starting I also feel like it's helping if you're going the wrong route. But basically, long term, that's kind of like what I
After 4 times?
Sharing your experience.
The last 4 letters spell out lines.
An occupation. It's a job skill. Basic value. I can raise some money.
Sorry, I have right now. I'm using more email. This email address. My regular.
All right.
Right now, it's adjusted by So yes, if you believe that
and my approach is always different. The opposite of some of you. I take high capital basis, $1 million. But I do a big target, $200 million. But I'm interested in talking more about consumer development for Indian market, Indian home entertainment. Because you've been in the space, you can probably advise me.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk now. I'm very overcommitted now.
If there's anything, I mean, if you can help me, give me advice, you board member, or anything, I'm sure. It's up to you. Love to keep your brains once in a while.
You know, beyond that, I don't know if I could. I guess I'd like you to know a little more.
No, I mean, I have no idea yet. It's fine. I mean, I think it's good idea.
Oh, I see.
Okay, just starting now. I'm thinking something, but wanted to find out more about stock and and I want. Okay, sure. What's your email? What's that? Oh, vitamin D. IND?
Yeah, I-N-S-I-N-C.
Oh, vitamin D. And what is vitamin D?
So we do intelligent computing applications, recognition of objects in the video.
So it's like a OCR? Is it like a OCR?
Yeah, similar, except instead of letters, you know, so if you have a surveillance
images?
Yeah, if you have like 8 hours of video, it's showing all the people who came through that door.